G'day everyone, Tim from vMix here, and today we're talking about controlling your live video production with X keys. vMix supports a lot of different devices for production control, like keyboard and mouse, MIDI devices, Stream Decks, Xbox controllers, and X keys, to name a few. So today we're going to be talking about how to set up your X keys with vMix. X keys are flexible and customizable USB keyboard devices that are used across all kinds of industries. Many years ago, we thought it would be a good idea to be able to use your X keys with vMix and your live production, so we added full support for them. Now, I think we pretty much support most of the X keys devices, so you can check out our website for a full list of the ones that we support and each function we support with them. Now, over the years, they produce all kinds of shapes and sizes, as you can see here. So from smaller ones with 24 keys to rack-mountable ones, to ones that resemble more of a switcher with T-bars, to ones with joysticks, jog shuttle wheels, all sorts of stuff. And these are all controllable with vMix. As you may have noticed from that camera shot, you would have seen the world famous vMix Funtime live show, X keys controller. So this is how I've laid this out. There's a lot of different kinds of keys that you can use, from numbered acrylic keys like this to ones where you have your own labels, to different ways to show the lighting. And they also have fully customizable printable keys that you can purchase. And so there's a lot of different options how you can lay this out and customize it yourself. So in this tutorial today, I'm going to show you how you can press a key to perform a function in vMix using the shortcuts, and also how to change the lighting on the X keys using vMix Activators. Now, the first thing you'll need to do once you have your X keys is plug it into your computer. Make sure that you plug it in first before opening up vMix. As you can see here, I have a production here today, and I'm going to show you how to set up a shortcut. Now, first of all, I'm going to go to Settings, and then I'm going to go to the Shortcuts section down here. Now, this displays all of the shortcuts that you have set up in your production. It'll show you your local shortcuts in bold and global shortcuts that aren't in bold, like this one here. Up the top, you'll have a menu where you can kind of break down the different devices you're using, whether it's keyboard, MIDI, and that sort of thing. And down the bottom, the options for creating and editing shortcuts. Now, next to that, you'll see MIDI settings. And if I click on that and then click on channel mappings, you can actually choose your X keys to use different channels if you needed to. So for example, I have this jog shuttle one here on channel 1 and this one on channel 2. So if I select this here, what I can do is then change the channel of that T-bar if I wanted to. So you can actually change the channels for them with things like MIDI controllers. You can't do that in vMix. They have to be hard-coded from the device in order to change the channel, but you can do that with most X keys devices like so. So now I have these two devices. I have the first one here on channel 1, and now I have the second one here using channel 2. And then I'm going to click OK. Now this is handy because it means you can have multiple X keys on the one computer, or even you could have a MIDI controller and multiple X keys as well, just by adjusting the channels for the X keys. All right, so let's go ahead and add a shortcut now. So I'm going to click Add here, and then I'm going to go to the Find option up the top. Now I need to choose a key that I want my function to perform on. All right, so I've quickly just gotten rid of all of my other controllers, and I'm now going to set up this 60 button one here. So what I need to do is press the button that I want to use. I'm just going to use the one in the top corner to make it easier. So the first button here. Now, as you can see, it has now got the MIDI note on, and if I release that, it goes off. So typically with shortcuts, I like to use them on the down press. So I'm going to select that. As you can see, it's on note 0, which is the first one up here. And then I'm going to click OK. Okay, so as you can see, that has pre-filled this information down here. This is the device on channel 1. We don't want to change that. We've got the note here, which was the note 0. Underneath that, you'll see the function drop down, and you need to decide what you want the key to do when you press it. So as you can see, there are hundreds of different options down here, and each they have their own different parameters and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do today is just select a basic transition. Now, if you did want to find a particular shortcut, you click all up here, and then you can type a word in. So fade will pick up anything with the word fade, fader, that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is, instead of searching for it, I'm just going to go to the transition category, which will kind of break down each option on the left here. So let's just do a wipe. So we're going to do a wipe transition when we press this button, and I'm just going to make that half a second. And then we need to select the input that we want the function to perform on. So I'm going to select this bees video here. So when I press the button, it will transition to the B's video, which is what I want. Now underneath that, you'll see an assign shortcut to input number tick box. Now, if you tick this, it means that the shortcut function will only ever happen on number 7 input here. So that's what the B's video currently is. So if I move the B's video to number 8, the shortcut would not work on B's, it would work on whatever's in number 7 now. So if I untick this, it means that the shortcut function will follow around this B's video, which is what I want because I shuffle things around a lot in my production. If you were building a controller to have a more rigid setup where you have 1 to 8 buttons going to 1 to 8 inputs, you may want to tick this box here. But again, play around with it and see what works best for you. Now I can give it a title down the bottom here. So let's just call this B's. And then we can give it a description 1 and a description 2. Now keep in mind that these need to be fairly short because there is limited sort of display space in vMix. So you might run into a character limit. So just make sure that these are fairly short. Now underneath that, you'll see a display option. Now the display option gives you the ability to change how the shortcut is viewed in the vMix web controller. So by default, you'll just see a little panel that has the name of the shortcut or what it does on the web controller. You can change this to color, image, or thumbnail if you wanted to. So it just makes it a little bit easier to see when you are switching using the shortcuts in the web controller. Now underneath that, you have the option to use a local shortcut, which is saved to the preset. So as you can see up here, I've got this preset here called X keys. If I tick this box here, it means that the shortcut is saved to this preset. Now, if I have this box unticked, like so, it means that it's saved as a global shortcut in my vMix settings. So let's say I had a shortcut that I was using across a lot of my productions. I could untick this and it will appear in that list of shortcuts as a global shortcut as opposed to a preset specific one. But I'm going to tick this for now because I want a local shortcut. Now underneath that, you'll see show in web controller. Now that just means that the shortcut will appear on the shortcut page on the web controller. So if you wanted to limit the number of shortcuts, say a volunteer was using, you could tick this box here for the camera switching or video switching, but not include complex shortcuts like audio routing, streaming, recording, and that sort of thing. So it just kind of allows you to create a limited set of shortcuts in the web controller. All right, so let's go down the bottom and click OK. Now, as you can see, I now have this B's shortcut, and it is bolded because it's a local preset shortcut, and it's going to wipe to this video here when I press the key. So I'm just going to click OK down the bottom. And let's go ahead and press this button up the top here and watch my B's video wipe in. So there we go. That's how you can set up a shortcut on this key. So let's just jump back into the settings again and then go to shortcuts, and I'll show you some of the other settings. So there is a really handy button up in the top right-hand corner called Find. Now what this does is it allows you to just to press any of your keys on X keys to see whether you already have a shortcut set up on it. So if I now press this button in the top left-hand corner again, click OK, it will highlight any shortcuts that I have on that key to let me know, oh, that's what's on that key. Maybe set up a new key if you wanted to. All right, so underneath that, if you wanted to double click on the shortcut, you can edit it. Click OK down the bottom if you make changes. You can also select it and click Edit. You can also select it and clone it, which will duplicate that shortcut. As you can see, it's turned red. So any shortcuts that you have on the same key will appear red. You can set up multiple shortcuts on the one key if you wanted to. That's up to you. So then you could go into this one, edit it if you wanted to, or you could also use the duplicate function if you wanted to kind of just quickly add another one that's similar so you didn't have to change all the settings. So to remove it, select it and click remove. You can remove multiple ones that way as well by selecting multiple ones. And finally on the end here, we have the templates section. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Now this is where you can kind of import, export templates for your MIDIs or your X keys. So you can also apply them as well. We have some basic templates that have been provided to us by X keys. So for example, if you had the video switcher set, so if you bought that video switcher set from them with all the keys and everything, you can just load this up, click apply down the bottom, and you can see all these shortcuts down here that have already been pre-applied to these keys. So if you wanted to kind of quickly set it up, you could do that and then click apply. And there's another one there as well, I think, for the replay controller if you have that too. So you have the option of setting up a number of those quickly using those templates. Again, you can create your own templates. You can import, export them, and apply them down the bottom here. And I'm just going to click down here. All right, so now I'm going to show you how you can set up the T-bar, for example, if you had one. So what you'll need to do is go to settings again, and then we'll go up to shortcuts, then add, and then I need to find the T-bar here. So I've now found the T-bar, click OK, and now for the function, it needs to be set fader. And then I'm going to select this, and let's just call this T-bar, which is my nickname, and then finish setting it up like so, click OK. Now we can start using this as a T-bar. So as you can see, the T-bar in the middle, so we'll move that across. Let's put something different here, like this one here. Let's just move this across like so. So now we've got the T-bar set up in vMix on the X keys T-bar. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at how we can control these lights on the X keys using vMix activators. So first of all, we'll need to go up to the settings section again, and then we'll need to go to activators, which is just below shortcuts. Then we'll need to go to enable devices and make sure that we have our X keys controller enabled here by this tick box, and then we're going to click OK. Now X keys will typically have all these lights on by default. Now, when we have activators, we want to be able to see them a little bit clearer. So we don't want to have all the lights on all the time. We want to have them off. So I'm going to show you how you can set the default state to these keys to be off so you don't see these lights. So what I'm going to do is click add here, and then I'm going to go up to the find section. Now what we need to do is find the range of keys from the first one to the last one. So I'm going to select the one in the top left-hand corner, and that's going to be note 0. And the one in the bottom right-hand corner is going to be note 79. So the range we need to set up is 0 to 79. So that's what I'm going to do here, 0 to 79. And then for the event, I'm going to select default. So default state of these keys. Now for the type, what I'm going to do is just select off, and I'm going to use this as a local preset activator down the bottom here. So by default, what will happen is all of these lights will now go off, and that will be the permanent default state for this X key. So click OK. As you can see, the lights have now all turned off. So as you can see, it's a lot more easy. So if I had a light now for a function, it would make it a lot clearer. All right, so let's go ahead and add another activator. So I'm going to go to add, I'm going to find, and now I need to choose what key I want the activator function to be performed on. So I'm going to use the top left one, which I used for the shortcut before, and then I'm going to click OK. Now, activators can be used completely independently of shortcuts. Like it doesn't have to be the same one. I don't have to be using the same key for the shortcut and the activator. You might just have a bunch of lights set up on your X keys to let you know that you're recording or streaming or something like that. It has got nothing to do with shortcuts. But today I'm going to be setting up the same key for the shortcut function and the notification that it's currently in the program output, which is what I want to know. So I like to have it connected in that way for the shortcuts. All right, so what I'm going to do is now select the event. Now I'm going to choose input. Now the input event means that it will let me know when that particular input is in the program output. Now there are a lot of different options here in regarding to like for audio, what's in an overlay, what's in the program output, all kinds of stuff that you can choose as your event for the activator. But I'm just going to use input today. Now I need to select the input in which the event occurs on. So what I'm going to do is select the bees video. So when the bees video is the input that's in the program output, something will happen. Now underneath that, you'll see the same button as before, assign activator to the input number, which means that the activator will follow the number of the input and not the actual input. So I'm going to untick this. Now this tick box is on by default here, which is different to the shortcut, so keep that in mind. Now underneath that, for type, what I'll need to do now is select X keys. So I need to go down here and select X keys button LED. Now that will give me the option to choose blue, blue and red, or a blinking option. So what I might do today is select a red blinking option when my bees video is in use. So underneath each of these keys here, you have two lights that can be used. They have different options, like I showed you before with the vMix Funtime Live Show one. They have special little keys that will block out lights. So you can kind of set a key above it to let you know whether it's on or off, and that light will light up. All right, so I'm going to use this as a local activator, and I'm going to click OK, and then OK. So as you can see, by default, everything's off. And now when I switch to this bees video, it is now going to turn this light on in the top left-hand corner. It's going to start flashing. So I'm going to press the button, as you can see, it is now flashing. So I've now used this as a shortcut and also as a notification or an activator that my video is now in the program output. When I switch it back, it stops flashing. Switch it back, flashes, stops flashing, like so. Okay, so that's how you can set up shortcuts and activators for X keys. Fairly straightforward, and you can obviously lay these out however you like. For example, like I have some labels here, so I can go ahead and write, Tim on this. And then what I would do is go ahead and take off this here and then lay this label underneath it. I would firstly let it dry because you need to make sure that it dries so it doesn't stick. And then what I do is I just chuck that under there and then pop that down like so. And they have a lot of different options as well in regards to, say, removing some of these and placing this so they the buttons stand out more. They have custom keys that you can get made up, for example, with bananas. They also have ones with numbers, and they have different kits that you can get with different things as well. So they have a ton of different stuff on their website. So I'd recommend checking out xkeys.com to find out more information about all the different options they have in regards to layouts, setups, and different ways you can customize your X keys. Now you can also find out all the information about what works with vMix and what doesn't work with vMix over at vMix.com. Now, as I showed you before, there are a ton of different X keys devices with different controllers on them. So for example, jog shuttle wheels, joysticks, T-bars, and that sort of thing. And they all have the different ways that you can use them in vMix. Now, for example, I don't have a replay set up today, but I'll show you quickly some different options for the jog shuttle wheel. So if I add this here, I find it, I can use the jog shuttle wheel like so. And then you have options down here for the jog wheel. Now, I'll link in the description some of the advanced MIDI settings that you might need to use when using it for things like replay and that sort of thing. So check out the help guide listed below for that. Or if you have the replay unit, you could use the template if you wanted to. They also have joysticks as well, as you can see on this one here. So if I go to add, find, and then I move this over to the left, I'll click OK. Now for the function, what I want to do is select, say, a PTZ function. Let's go ahead and go PTZ move left because we moved it left. And now let's select our PTZ camera. And then we can just quickly set this up, go OK and OK. So let's just try this out. Let's move this left. As you can see, that is going to move the camera all the way around because it doesn't know when to stop. So with things like that, you'll need to go back into it and you'll need to set up a shortcut for, let's just clone this one here. What you'll need to do is set up a shortcut for this position here. So you're gonna have to set that at 0 position again, and then we'll have to go to PTZ stop, like so. So that will stop all the movements. Click OK down the bottom and OK. Now as my PTZ spun all the way around, I've just reset it back to where it was. So what I need to do now is I can press left to go left, and then when it goes back to the center, it's stopped. Now one of the questions we get a lot about this joystick is, can I use it for PTZ zoom, for example? Can I twist it up here and zoom in and zoom out? Unfortunately, it doesn't have a return point like the stick itself will come back to 0. The twist doesn't do that. So unfortunately, you can't have a stop point for it. So what I would recommend doing with that is actually setting up a key. So set up a key, press down is zoom in, press up is stop, press down, zoom out, press up is stop. So that's what I would recommend doing. As a quick example, I'll quickly show you what I mean by that. So I would set up a shortcut here. I'm gonna find this key down in the bottom corner. I'm gonna hold that down, click OK. Now what for the function I'm going to select is zoom in. And then I'm going to select my camera here, and then let's click OK. Now I'm just going to duplicate that one, edit it, actually find it's just using the same key, but I need to make sure that it's on release. Click OK, PTZ zoom stop, and then I'm going to click OK. So now when I press it in, it will zoom in, and then when I release it, it will stop. So let's click OK. So let's zoom in, stop, zoom in, stop, like so. So then you would go ahead and you would set up another key for zoom out. So when you pressed it in, it zoomed out. When you released it, it did zoom stop. So that's going to be a more effective way than using the end of the joystick for PTZ zoom. So if you do have any specific requirements for the different options that they have, make sure you do some research just to make sure it's going to do exactly what you want to do, and then get the device that matches those functions. Now, if you do have any questions, feel free to contact the people at XKeys. If you have a question about their devices, you can give them a call or you can send them an email. All right, so thanks for watching this video today. If you do have any questions, again, drop us an email via the support page on vmix.com. If you want XKeys specific stuff, it's probably best to actually contact them. They'll probably be able to help you out a little bit better. So thanks for watching, and we'll stream you later.
Congratulations on finishing a vMix YouTube video. Although it's just a few short minutes, the time we've spent together means a lot to us. If you'd like to spend some more quality time with us, feel free to subscribe to our channel. If you're into social media, look for vMix HD across all your favorite platforms.